So, according to the World Bank, um, strategic investments and projects are worth about 30% of world GDP. So, world GDP currently is around 110 trillion US dollars. So, that value is around $30 trillion dollars. And the addressable market for the platform or the software, the tools for that is around 10 trillion US dollars. Um, Talking to a couple of the leading global vendors on these tools, I was underwhelmed with their current agentic capabilities, as well as their roadmap for building these agentic capabilities. So what I did is that I built my own platform, and I'll just take you through it quickly. So let me just log in there. So the first thing is that a platform like this will typically cost above 10 million rands and probably take a couple of developers and probably 6 to 9 months worth of development. So that's just the one uh, big benefit of having agentic AI. I developed this over 4 days, essentially vibe coded it. Um, Although it's a bit more tricky than just a normal vibe code because I had to tell the agent what frameworks to use for the coding. The first thing I want to highlight is that you can choose which LLM you use for this. Basically, this is a meeting setup. So the way it works is that you can choose a project. I've created some dummy project. I'm going to choose an ERP project, which is arguably one of the more difficult projects to implement. And you can choose to invite an agent. So the active part is where the agent listens to the intent or what's being spoken in the meeting and will jot down recommendations. You'll see a bit later when I do demo. It'll jot down recommendations and yeah, you'll see when I do that. The assist one, you need to say INS, please give me some recommendations. So that's the difference between that. That automatically does it. This it has to listen. Um, you can choose which LLM you want to use. I'm using GLM 5.2. This is a Chinese LLM model, but I'm using it through OpenRouter, hosted I think in a company called Together in the US. And the reason is that these Chinese models are a fifth, if not less, than some of the frontier models. And GLM 5.2 has had a buzz in the last 2 weeks or so, with performance on par with some of the leading frontier models in the US. So what you do is that you press this create meeting, and what it does is that it creates a meeting link effectively where you can add your LLM. I'm using a platform called Recall AI to include my LLM in the meeting. So let me just set that up quickly. Uh, Let me just do that quickly. CML. So I'm just setting that up. So I've set this up. Let me just make sure that the microphone, yeah, I've set this up. Okay, so that's the INS is in the meeting. There's INS and I'm also in the meeting. So you will see here that Recall AI brings the conversation into this window. The project is Apollo. This is just one use case already there. So the platform is connected to the project or the portfolio of project, and as I'm talking, it's it's sensing. This you can open wide, and already it's starting to hear what I'm saying, and it's summarizing what the project is about, some of the risks, some of the things that are currently happening in the project. But I just want to show one use case. So it's currently wired to an agent. So what I'm going to say here, um, yeah, so whenever it hears something that talks about risk, it hears the intent. So I'm going to say that Apollo project is 3 weeks behind, and that is unacceptable to the group CEO. And you're going to see some of the magic. So there is a bit of a delay with Recall AI. There we go. So it's come through now. And this is some of the amazing things, right? Again, it's a bit slow in coming through. That's just the lag with Recall. Give me some recommendations to recover the 3 weeks INS. There we go. All right. So what it's done now is that it's heard me say I want to cover the 3 weeks, but the level of detail is quite remarkable, right? So already it gives me 3 weeks to recover. It's To be honest, I didn't even know some of the information that it's getting here. So it's already got the rate card and it's telling me in order to recover what the options are, and it's given me a couple of options. Use option A, accelerate data migration. It's so clever. It even knows the tasks to zoom into. They accelerate data migration, add two external contractors. It tells me how much those contractors are going to be. Pull integration lead. It even looks across the portfolio. So it's looking at another project and looking at Slack there and telling me to pull those resources, what that'll mean, and the fact that um, because it's internal, there will be no cost. But obviously, with pulling that project, you impacting that project. Um, Although it's saying there's no impact, but obviously you don't want to disturb it if there's a better option. Reallocate Apollo's own 15% allocated capacity, shift internal resources from completed integration development. The level of detail that this thing has is remarkable. Now, this is a scenario that happens in every single company. Every company I've worked for, massive companies, this can typically take weeks um, to, to resolve in companies. All right, especially for large projects, and even then, um, there's doubt whether all the information are done. And within a couple of seconds, really, this platform has already come up with that level of detail. All right. And this is remarkable. Now, I have put dummy data in the system, but you could have a tactical approach where you could give the AI agent access to a repository, for example, with Excel plans and so forth. So you could have a staggered implementation of this where the agent is still there, but instead of pulling from a system, for example, if you've got system issues or it's too expensive to get a system and your people are still using Excel, you can just give it access to a folder. And that's quite remarkable. I mean, this for companies can save, I mean, not even can, it'll save millions of rands and people's time and so forth. Um, and obviously, this is a bit different to some of the platforms that we currently have that essentially summarize the meeting rather than actually have intelligence in the meeting. So you can end the session by just saying leave, and then it will save the options and the actions and decisions there. What I didn't show is that even during the meeting, you can actually have a conversation with the LLM. It will have the context of the meeting itself, um, and also the context of your enterprise. This is very, very powerful if you're having a Zoom meeting with a client and you want to see options or they're challenging you on certain costs and so on. Just want to show you a couple of things. There's also something which is really nice. This is a meeting brief. So every day there's a cron job that runs and that scans across your portfolio and essentially gives you things to focus on during the day. I mean, this is amazing. And again, I just gave this to the LLM. I didn't really give it too many instructions. Apollo ERP benefit erosion and payment gateway timeout. Top today's agenda. I mean, this is powerful for CFO, a CEO, a CIO, and so forth. 14 projects. It tells you the total value, the NPV, number of distress projects, authorized ERP recovery plan, um, to descope and so forth. The level of just intelligence that this thing has. And again, I've been a bit disappointed with the vendors that don't have this. I'm just going to go through quickly through this. Um, so the way this platform is constructed is that effectively what the agent did in developing it was automate all PMBOK processes. So PMBOK is the gold standard for portfolio, program, and project management. Um, and this platform has function routing. So for each function that's there, you can choose which model you want to have, right? Some models you might need more expensive LLMs. Again, this is powerful for a CFO who wants to reduce costs, but at the same time giving the enterprise the benefits, right? It even records the the cost for each LLM, right? So Anthropic, this is how much the token spend is, and just it's basically so small that it's not even recording on the spend, right? Um, so I mean that kind of interaction that I just had, the value that it brings to the organization is multi-millions for a almost negligible token spend. So that's the economics of the LLM. The architecture, as I said, by the way, you can also have similar conversation on WhatsApp. So I've connected it to WhatsApp, Telegram. It's also connected to your emails. So basically, you have your agent polling your emails, which is amazing, and um, thinking or assessing your your enterprise as it gets emails. WhatsApp is a bit tricky to integrate, to be honest. So Telegram has got some more tools to allow for that. So that daily brief that I said, you can get that on Telegram. And there's the UI interface with the agent, which is what you just saw now in that meeting intelligence. Um, there's a channel gateway. Um, which effectively connects the channels to the agentic reasoning. And on the agentic reasoning, you can put any playbook that you want. And then there's the cognition layers, the models, and so forth. Um, the amazing thing as well that is on this platform is a memory, right? So the platform remembers things that it picked up during the conversation with it, so it can self-improve, which is also another thing. It's connected to skills. It's connected to tools. I'm going to show the connectors just now. Um, and it's got, like I said, all the capabilities of a portfolio program, a project capability. And it's got an audit trail as well. So you can see, especially if you accept a recommendation, you can see which recommendation it does. Another thing that I didn't say is that if you accept a recommendation, for example, you're taking resources from another project, it will automatically update those projects, which is another benefit. There's connectors, so you can connect to Gmail, like I said, to Recall AI, which allows you to get information from the meeting. Um, I've connected it to WhatsApp and Telegram and Google Meet. So some of these things I had to manually do. Um, some of these are not connected, but you could, if you have some sort of SAP integration, Salesforce, and so forth, look to connect them to the platform. I've shown the architecture, and then this is the essentially the portfolio setup. So what I did is effectively created a mini Microsoft project, Jira, but this has everything, right? So it's got this view which shows all the project in the portfolio, grouped by program. There's a pipeline intake, which I've built. And if you want to create an idea, a pipeline intake, you can actually do that using an agent. Again, a productivity improvement. Something I want to show, I'm not going to fill it in now, but what I've done is that every single proposal has got what I call a scope item. This just makes it easy for the agent to reason, right? So each scope item has got a should have, could have. So this makes it easy for an agent when it reasons and when it looks at different alternatives to be able to see what it can do. So this is some of the things that I did. You can even rank the proposal so that again, if it reasons and wants to prioritize, it can see which projects are less priority than others. Although it can assess that through maybe the value and so forth. Um, so that's quite nice. Let me just go back to the portfolio. It's also got it's got both waterfall and agile project. So let me just go to a safe project. So there's a safe project there, and again, even more productivity improvements. That meeting intelligence could be something that you could tap into during a Scrum meeting or an agile meeting or a safe meeting. Again, saving productivity and so forth. You could even use it during a strategic meeting, a board meeting, so that the agent during a board meeting begins to listen, and you can wire different playbooks. Again, you can get it to speak to you on the side, maybe to you on WhatsApp instead of the whole forum. So that's amazing. So there's the program view. Um, Let me just go to let's go to the program view. There's benefits, there's stakeholders, there's budgets, there's confidence, there's resources, there's scenarios. This is Monte Carlo analysis. Um, let's go to a project itself. So all of this was done. Um, I mean, this is done basically by vibe coding, which is amazing. So every single benefit item is linked to a task. Again, makes it easier for an agent to reason when it looks at different scenarios. Um, Again, this project can be completely generated using an agent, right? You can just paste. Maybe you have a planning meeting and you just paste it here, and it will generate for you a project. Again, incredible productivity improvements. Benefits, it shows you the benefits, scope items, like I said, stakeholders, budget, and so forth. Um, it even has got capacity component. It's also tied to operations. This is like a Jira setup where you can have a backlog and you can have a priority list, right? And by the way, when it reasons in terms of pulling resources, it even reasons across here. So there's P1s and or priority ones and priority twos, or critical items and high items. And it's got the intelligence to see which items, for example, can can wait and which can't. Um, so these are some of the things that I was a bit disappointed with some of the vendors not having. Um, and these are some of the benefits that you can have.